What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today is all about Super Rugby. Once again, and I'm going to repeat myself, we were treated to amazing, outstanding rugby. Some of the teams are just showing their strength, some of the teams we just can't quite work out, and some of the teams just not doing enough in order to be competitive in this competition. Before we get into the predictions and the recap, I want to ask you guys a question. A reporter in South Africa wrote an article and he said Super Rugby is dead. A few fans responded, some agreed, some didn't. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think Super Rugby is dying? My opinion on it is no. I think it is too long. I don't know how we would reduce it, maybe one game per, but I think it just goes on too long. We start this in February and we end all the way in the year. I mean, June internationals, then we go back to Super Rugby. So I think maybe it's too long, but it's an incredible tournament, and I think it's exciting because it showcases the provincial level of all these teams, giving them the opportunity to play to the best of their abilities for their and to raise their hands for their countries. So we could look at these youngsters in South African teams, Australia, New Zealand, Japan and Argentina. It gives them a chance to put their hands up for international duty. So for me, I don't think it's dying. I think it's maybe just too long and too big. We've got a lot of teams in there, and maybe some that aren't doing as great. Maybe we need to put a question mark over them. But yeah, I don't think it's dead, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. That article got my attention and I saw a lot of heat coming from it. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that from wherever you are around the Southern Hemisphere. Let's get to the weekends, this past weekend's fixtures. What incredible weekend of rugby. Let's start off with the first game on Friday. Blues versus the Highlanders. I predicted a Highlanders win, and that is exactly what we got. The score was 34-16. Blues coming away with 2 tries there, but the Highlanders scoring 5. Shannon scoring a hat-trick, so well done to him. Awesome rugby, dominance shown by the Highlanders, and they're looking good. They're really looking good. I'm feeling for the Blues. I think they've got so much potential, and on paper they've got a phenomenal team. But they need to work on things to come right. Maybe it's just not their season. We saw it with the Bulls last year. They just didn't look that good, and now look at them. So maybe they just need time, but hopefully they'll bounce back. I like the Blues. They're a great team. Then the next game, this was a shocker for me. The Waratahs versus the Lions. And when I say shocker, I predicted the Lions win. But in all honesty, I did not predict the Waratahs not to score a single point. I mean, 29-0. That's quite a shocker for me. And I'm disappointed, well, ecstatic for South African team, but I'm disappointed from the Waratahs team because they are the best Australian team and they got smashed by the Lions. It's shocking, really. 4 tries in the game? Marnus Kumar, Harold Foster, Kwagga Smith. He better be in that Springbok side. So when I see Erasmus, listen, Kwagga in the team. But Michael scoring another try. That boy is on fire. There's another one. Put your hand up. Yankees converting. So good effort from the Lions. Good to see them coming back. And it's a positive thing for South African rugby. So I'm quite happy with that, but hard luck to the Waratahs. Hopefully they can bounce back, as that is one of my Australian teams. Crusaders Sunwolves, right, this was a predictable win. Crusaders winning 33-11. Credit to Sunwolves for scoring a try, but unfortunately their form, they just can't win one at this point of time. Good tries scored, 5 tries. Jack scored 1, Ryan Crotty 2. What a legend that man is, great player. And it's good to see just the Crusaders are looking good and dominant as usual. So good win for the Crusaders. Maybe some would have expected maybe a bigger score. I was expecting maybe a 50, but 33-11 is fantastic. So well done to the Crusaders. Then we get to the Reds and the Chiefs. Reds, after the Chiefs winning that one quite convincingly. Brodie Retallick scoring a try. A lot of you guys are big fans of him, so it's good to see Brodie Retallick on the try list. What a great player he is. And then the Reds scoring 2 tries. Samu scoring 2. Both of them. So well done to him for scoring. And credit to the Chiefs. Also another dominant team in New Zealand rugby, just continuing their form and looking looking good. Then we get to another crack of a game that took place on Saturday. The Bulls versus the Rebels. The Bulls are looking good. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing coming from that team. They are just looking strong. The Rebels, obviously, also one of Australia's strongest this year. But unfortunately not coming right. One try in it and a conversion and a penalty for the Rebels to get their 10 points. But 28 points to the Bulls. Adrian Strauss, scoring another try. There's an article today saying, should they bring Adrian Strauss back? That's the second question I've got for you guys. Do you think Adrian Strauss should come back to the Springbok team? Personally, and don't slaughter me for this, Adrian Strauss retired. Let him enjoy his provincial level. I don't think it's right to bring him out of retirement. I know he's good and he's got a lot to offer, but when I'm seeing Malcolm Marks and the younger talent, I want them to grow and produce and get better. Give these youngsters a chance, because the World Cup's next year, guys. We can't have the old timers coming back and then now all these youngsters have to sit back and miss out on a World Cup opportunity. We're going to lose them to overseas teams. It's going to happen if we bring Strauss back. So as great as he is, he's a legend and he's on fire this season. I don't think it's time for him to come back to the Springbok team. Stay in retirement. Another player to look out for, Andre Pollard. Good to see him looking good again. I think he's going to be an awesome force to be reckoned with. And then the game for me of the weekend, Sharks versus the Stormers. Hard luck to the Stormers. They are really not in the greatest state at the moment. There's so much in the media going that Robbie Fleck needs to get fired. There's another question, should he be fired, to all the Stormers fans? So much talk of bringing in the Western Province coach. I know he's done well with them, so maybe that's an option. Score was 24-17 to the Sharks. Awesome stuff. Good to see Am scoring a try. I like that kid. He's a good player. Thomas Toy and Jean-Luc Depree. The Depree brothers are looking good in this team. They're really helping the Sharks, and it's good to see Robert Depree kicking well. And it was a good game. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, especially because I'm a Sharks supporter. It's a good victory for me after last week's disappointment. So I'm smiling. And then another surprise for us. Brumbies versus the Jaguars in Australia. Brumbies losing 20-25. Thomas Banks scores 2 tries and they still couldn't do it. But yeah, what a game. These Jaguars are really surprising us and playing some amazing rugby. They're really coming out of nowhere and just winning games that one probably didn't predict. I think they're a lacquer team, and I'm happy for Argentina just to see this team surprising us. I got the prediction wrong, but I'm happy for the Jaguars to just continue this, and hopefully they can continue it. It's good to see. It's good for rugby. It's like surprise. But again, the question is, what the hell is going on with Australian rugby? The fact that the last year's team was the worst team. Last year's worst team was the Rebels. Obviously with the others, but in Australia. Now they're one of the top. What's going on? Something needs to happen. Australian rugby needs a shake-up. I know I've got no room to talk, but South Africa are at least on the rise. There's a lot that needs to happen. I know if someone's asked me to do a video on Australian rugby, that's definitely a possibility, but it's not looking good for Australia, and I hope they can bounce back. They're a great team, great nation, and it will be good to see them bouncing back. Let's go to the fixtures quickly, just to go on. Hurricanes versus the Sunwolves. This is going to be a cracker of a game for the Hurricanes. I just don't see the Sunwolves winning that one. They haven't won in quite a number of games. Hurricanes on a good winning streak at the moment, and I'm going Hurricanes to win by more than 20 points. Sorry to Sunwolves fans if you're here. Hurricanes are just too strong. Bowden Barrett in that team, they'll walk them, unfortunately. Stormers versus Rebels. This is going to be a tight one. As I just said, Australian rugby is not in a great place, but Rebels are okay. They lost last week. They're playing in Newlands. Stormers need to come back. They need to bounce back. They're in the media. People are angry with them. The supporters are angry. So what is going to happen? We're going to have to see a better game plan from them. And for me, I'm going to go with the Stormers to win that game. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be close. but I just think the Stormers need to prove a point, and against at home they're going to have to win this one. It's going to be tough, but I'm going a Stormers victory. Then we go on Saturday, Reds versus the Lions. Another good clash, a fair clash, but again, I just don't see. The Reds are on a 4-game losing streak. Lions are on a 2-game winning streak, and just from that I'm going on Lions to win by more than 10 points. I think the Reds will give them a bit of a fight, but just for me personally, I just see the Lions winning that game. Blues versus the Jaguars. This is a game that is tough to predict. Jaguars on a 2-game winning streak. Blues obviously lost last week, won the week before, but sure, it's going to be a tough one. It's a hard one to predict, to be honest with you. The Blues, technically, on the New Zealand team, should be the favourites. They've played once before, I think, in 2016. The Blues winning that one. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Blues to win. Sorry, Jaguars, and I'll just punt at you guys. And I hope you prove me wrong. It will be good to see the Jaguars picking up another one. But it's in Auckland, or it's in New Zealand, so I just feel this is going to be the Blues game. But it's going to be a good game, I think. Good game to watch out for the weekend. Brumbies taking on the Crusaders. Brumbies, as I said, aren't in the greatest of places at the moment, on a 2-game losing streak. And then the Crusaders 4-game winning streak. And they're just looking good and dominant and strong, and I see them winning by more than 15 points. I could be wrong. Brumbies could surprise us, but just judging on past performances, I just somehow don't think that's going to happen. Then the final game of the weekend. I will be in Pretoria, but sadly won't be at that game this weekend. But the Bulls are taking on the Highlanders. Both teams in good form. Both teams have a good winning streak at the moment. Bulls have won 3 on the trot, or 3 in a row, and the Highlanders have won 2 in a row. So it's going to be a tough game. This is also another tough one to predict. Both teams going to be wanting to give it their all, show their all, everything to the best of their ability. But for me, and I'm sorry, South Africa, I just got to go with the Highlanders. Just a stronger team. They're not doing too badly at all this year in this tournament, and I just see them picking up a victory there. It's going to be tough. It's going to be close. But I just see the Highlanders beating the Bulls. But I hope I'm wrong for South Africa's sake. If we just briefly have a talk about the conferences, Waratahs leading 5 games won. Lost 2 in the Australian Conference. New Zealand Conference, Crusaders winning that one. Sorry, Waratahs won 5, lost 2. Crusaders won 6, lost 2. So they're on the top there, and then the Lions on the top of the game of the South African Conference. Bulls aren't looking bad either. They're behind, but obviously Waratahs are a game behind as well. So it's so much more to play, but we're getting there. So that's the predictions, that's the recap, and those are my questions to you guys. Is Super Rugby dead? And the other question that I said earlier that I have just forgotten. So, one moment, it's the end of the week. So, what a weekend we're going into. It's not the end of the week, it's Wednesday, but who cares? South Africa are going on a long weekend this weekend, so I'm looking forward to it. We need the long rest. But yeah, what a weekend in store for us. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions. So much to look forward to this weekend. And I'm excited. I'm curious to see. Hopefully we can see some exciting rugby. And I hope to see a little bit of a spark from Australia as well. Just for their sake. So we can just get a bit of liftment here. Internationals are nearly just over a month away. And we need to see some improvements. It's going to be awesome. Otherwise, Ireland are going to walk Australia, but who knows, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed so you can keep up to date with all future uploads. Thanks once again for watching. I'll see you soon for another video. Stay safe, never give up. Cheers.